5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello, wherever you are in the world, as I always say, one of those must apply to you. Welcome along, this is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you very much for joining us. If you are joining in via YouTube, if you are listening via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending me your logos. And if you're watching on Catch Up, thanks for doing that as well. This is the prediction show with probably the three most stupid men that support Leicester. Well, probably even worse than that. Talk about hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. I think we all three do all three. But it is the prediction show. Some of us, well, you know what? We had a better week than others. That's all I'm saying. I said I would not go on about it, and I won't. Wayne and Brad. Let's just say a couple of hellos. Craig is in. Craig, how the devil are you, sir? John is in. Hello, John. How are you? And Blue Fox, all the way from Canada. Good morning and good evening to you, indeed. Look, it is the prediction show. We got there eventually. We've got the latest table of sorts. We think it's about right. Who knows? Who knows? But let's get on with it. I'll get Wayne and Brad in and we'll do the prediction show. Well, hello. How are you both doing?
No, I'm all right, Chris. I'm hiding my face in shame. It's got nothing to do with technical issues with my camera. Yeah.
Are you surprised, Wayne? He should be, shouldn't he? Wayne's on mute again.
Oh, who knew? I'll tell you what, we should really start a LTID bingo card that everybody can play along with. It's Chris swears, Wayne mutes himself, Brad goes off camera, Tom gives a 5 to a player that's a 0. We can do it. Yes, that's a task for the guys in the comments. Think of a bingo card. We need 9. We need a 4x4.
I've actually started to make a note of this. I don't know if you can see it there. Wayne mutes at the time. 3 minutes 43, and that included 2 minutes over worth of me introducing it and the video.
Well, what it is, Chris, I'm trying to hint to Ruud van Nistelrooy not to speak so much bullshit, you see. So,
well, in that case, you carry on, sir. In that case, you carry on. Yes, gentlemen. Brad, let's have a look at last week's results. I don't think anybody saw Forest get beating Manchester City, did they?
Surprisingly enough, Chris. Surprisingly enough, and if I can't, I'm going to take a stab in the dark and try to remember who it was. Bear with me. I actually think our very own Kate. And again, I could be wrong. I think she definitely got a point on it, if not all three. But somebody definitely, I'm going to stick with Kate because I just remember her getting a point on it. Went 1-0 Nottingham Forest.
Well, Wow, well done, that woman there. John says Wayne's middle name must be Mute. Ronald is in and Ray is in. One day I'm going to put all the names up here with our nicknames up. And Chris calls Rude a bullshitter. I certainly do. You were unlucky, Brad. I mean, we all went for I went for a draw. Bloody Manchester City, can't trust them, can you? And you two guys both went for a Man City win, which I don't blame you for doing that at all. Brighton Fulham ended up 2-1. Oh, Brad, you must have been wishing for an extra goal.
I really was, mate. My only Desmond, I think, of that weekend, and I was sat here cursing. I've never cursed them so much in all my life.
No, it wasn't a Desmond. It was 2-1.
Oh, no, that was the one I fucked up on. Yeah, I was really hoping Brighton would go and get 3. I'm actually, you know what? The stupidest thing is, I got it wrong. I've even got the book open, saw my own predictions, just saw 2-2. That explains the mess up of the maths earlier. See, told you. Blame Brighton. Yeah, can't get anything right, can I, Chris?
Yes, but I mean, Wayne, some of us got it spot on, didn't we?
Well, yes, we did, Chris. And it's I think it's Brighton on a fantastic run, really. Wow. It's going to be interesting with Man City slipping up, whether they can get into Europe. Very interesting.
Yeah. Palace Ipswich, which was the one that caused Brad a lot of confusion. He went for a Desmond. He just doesn't get it. You're going to go for a Desmond, Brad. You have to get them right. I said I went 2-2 for Forest Man City. It was 1-0, which is
Liverpool. Chris, Brad's looking a little bit dejected tonight, actually.
Well, that's just my natural face, mate.
Anybody is affected by any of the issues brought up in this show.
Don't call Brad, because I'll tell you to piss off.
Fucking Liverpool couldn't keep a clean sheet against Southampton, but that was 3-1. Villa beating Brentford. I got nothing there because I went for the draw, and you two guys went for the Villa win. Wolves Everton. That was just a strike for all of us. Chelsea Leicester. We all had no faith in our own club. Mind you, we all picked that before Rude went and actually had a change of mind, which is something he hadn't done for about 15 weeks. You see, here's how you do it, Brad. I went Tottenham 2, Bournemouth 2.
Yeah, I know. And do you know what was really annoying about that game? At half time, Chris, or at some point during that game, they're definitely deep into the game. I was looking at my 2-1 going, hey, here we go, 2-0 Bournemouth. I'll take a point. Chris is going to get a fuck goal. And then Tottenham's going to say, yes, I'm going to get 3 points. Chris, go shut up. And then fucking Bournemouth conceded another one. I was like, you bunch of pricks.
Fair enough.
That's literally how that game panned out for me.
It's all very close, though, isn't it? Like Clivert missed it, because I had Spurs 2, Bournemouth 3. Clivert missed a sitter in front of goal, and that's the fine lines, isn't it? Yeah.
It's fine lines between you two and me, I think. That's what I'm going to say.
I think there's a paragraph between me and you and Wayne.
Man United, who only like playing against the top teams, turned up to hold Arsenal 1-1 and probably kill off their title hopes. And Newcastle winning 1-0, which, in fairness, we all went for. Brad, you were the nearest, though, with 2-0.
I ain't
Brad?
just football malarkey. I might take up betting on egg and spoon races.
Oh, that'd be smashing.
I'd probably crack at the first sign of pressure.
Hey.
There you go.
Excellent idea, though. You went. You must have been hoping for a second Newcastle goal again. You and me, Wayne, were just nowhere to be seen. But like I say, Brad, you ended up with 5. Wayne 8. I don't know really how to say this, guys.
Smuckishly.
Yeah, I think that's the word. Thank you.
I don't know, it's so difficult not to look smug at this point.
12. Mind you, I'm saying that I'm probably going to get 0 this week, so it'll all balance out. It's all going too well. I still blame the fact that I was I was away for about 4 games. Otherwise, I'd be up.
Piss off and go away again.
So those are the scores there because I forgot to put them up. Shall we have a look at the table, guys?
No.
In words of one syllable, you are saying no. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to anyway. Oh, look, who's on the left-hand side?
No, it's Nate, Spencer, Doug, John, and Seth Blatter. Oh, yeah.
Oh dear. Such a bad loser.
Green's not my favourite colour.
Wayne's just living on the fact that he took over a very bad score and it's not his fault, really. But Brad, at the start of the season, all that 2 times Premier League prediction champion, what's it all gone to?
Yeah, don't worry. There's plenty of time. You know, if Leicester still were deluded enough to think that they can survive being what will be before kickoff a 9-point gap between us and Wolves, then I'm going to believe I can still get whopping 30-point maximum weeks from here until the end of the season. Well, not this week because there's only 8 games, but I'm just going to believe I can still do it, Chris.
You started off well.
Yeah, so did a fart after a diarrhea pill. It doesn't mean it always ends well.
I've got no answer to that. I really can't go anywhere with that one. Right, let's have a look and let's get into it. Like you say, there's only 8 games. I did all this thinking that we'd got midweek fixtures as well, but that's not for 2 weeks until they come along. So the weekend fixtures, here we go. Nothing on the Friday night this week. 5 games on the Saturday, 3 games on the Sunday. 3 of those, 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday on Sky. There's a TNT game in there as well, and I can't remember which one it is. But I've got to say before we start, guys, Wayne, what do you think about a 7 o'clock Sunday evening kickoff?
These Sunday late kickoffs are absolutely ridiculous. Great for television, shit for the fans. Especially if you've got a 2-3 hour journey afterwards as well. When you start work, average 6 or 8 in the morning, it's ridiculous.
I mean, Brad, when you look at that, I mean, it is ridiculous. There's 4 games that kick off at 3 o'clock, the blackout time. Last week, there was 3 games that kicked off at 3 o'clock, and yet we can't watch them. What a fucking stupid thing. We are. And what? I don't know what the Premier League and the FA are getting up to.
Oh, they're just shuffling themselves over, and then they cry and worry and can't figure out why people are too busy with their completely legitimate Fire Sticks or their completely legitimate streams. Because, I mean, most people probably go into that game on a Sunday, Chris, can drive, right? But those that rely on public transport, most will know that, especially if you're relying on a bus, which I would if I was going that game at that time, you're not going to be able to get in for that time because every bus will be rammed near that time to get you to the ground for 7 o'clock. So you're going to have to get into town for 3-4 o'clock and twiddle your thumbs.
And it's a Sunday service as well.
Exactly. So, I mean, although, I suppose the only good thing about it being so late on a Sunday is if you go and pray for a miracle, it might give him upstairs a chance to perform it for us. But it's a horrible kickoff time. It's like a 12:30 kickoff on a Saturday. I don't get them. I just don't think they should exist.
No. Blue Fox, the answer to your question is yes. as indeed either of the other 2 would do if they were in my position as well. Don't have any of this sympathy for them, like, oh, poor little me. Chris is doing well. If it was the roles reversed, they would be gloating just as much. And you know what gets me, guys? All right, there's 2 TV matches on Sunday. Both of them are on Sky. Why the fuck don't there you go? There's the first swear word of the show. Why the fuck don't they put Arsenal versus Chelsea on the Sunday at 7? Because the tubes run till 2 in the morning, something like that. They could easily get home. Mind you, having said that, what are the trains like from Leicester to London on a Sunday night? Because that's where most Man United fans are going. Controversial. Right, guys, let's get into this. Join in, please, in the chat with your predictions, but please put so for the first game, EVE, WHU, whatever game. If you don't put that down, I don't really know which game you're talking about because some people are sort of a little bit behind. But West Ham, Everton, Wayne, it was 0-0 earlier on in the season. Both teams, though, had different managers then. Everton are sat in 15th on 33 points. West Ham are in 16th on 33 points. Like last time, I'll come to the home team for you, Wayne, and the away team for you, Brad. Everton, last week, could only manage a point with Wolves, although early on in the season, they'd have thought that good. They got a same 1-1 against Brighton the week before that. They had a 2-2 with Manchester United, but they did beat Palace 2-1. And they did beat drew with Everton 0-0 in the last derby at Goodison Park. Is your money on a draw here?
No, I fancy an Everton win. I know that they sort of drew a blank against Wolves, but previously they won 3 and drawn 3 since Moyes took over. And I did watch that video that Jim said about what Moyes has done with Everton to make them a lot more of a goal threat, and it's just a couple of simple things which you hope Ruud van Nistelrooy might sort of, just try 1 or 2 little different things like he did with the 5 at the back on last weekend. But yeah, I think Everton are brilliant. Beto is in my fancy football team because for how much it cost, that guy is an effective centre forward. If we had Beto in our side, we would not be in the bottom 3.
I think we would because he still wouldn't get the ball to him.
That's the other point which you and Kate did cover properly, and that's definitely the case. But if only we had a manager that was paid a ridiculous amount of money to kind of sort these little puzzles out for our Leicester City.
If only. So what are you going for this one?
Everton 3, West Ham 1.
Ooh. Right. Brad, West Ham lost to Newcastle last week. Beat us, of course, 2-0 very, very easily. Beat Arsenal 1-0. Lost to Brentford 1-0. Lost to Chelsea 2-1. They've not had Potter's not had the immediate impact that Moyes has had. But, I mean, both of them are safe, I think, on 33, aren't they?
They'll be safe on 23. With my optimism, Chris, but yeah, they are both safe. Look, the test of Graham Potter doesn't start till next season. We say this about like Celtic and Rangers or Man City, managing Man City. Us 3 could have won trophies with them. I think us 3 could have got Everton or West Ham out of trouble. I don't think it's an achievement of much note, especially when you look at how terrible the 3 clubs in the bottom 3 have been. I mean, well, bottom 4 if you want to include Wolves, because they obviously haven't been brilliant either. But they are now starting to pick up points and just add to it and build to it. And you'll probably they'll want to get to a point where they can start planning their summer holidays 4 or 5 weeks to go in the season and not really worry about it at all. Although, like I said, barring a miracle, they're pretty safe. It's always painful, Chris, isn't it, when you ask the woman you fancy out twice and she turns you down twice, and then you see her after all your hopes and prayers that she fails miserably and goes on to live a horrible life. You see her making a success of things with the new fella. Well, that's
Brad, I've never had that problem with women.
No, I haven't, but apparently Leicester have because. You've never had a woman that interested enough to keep you around, though, mate. That's
very true. That is very true.
But that's how Leicester must be feeling with Graham Potter, because whilst it's not glamorous by any stretch of the imagination, rejected by Graham Potter twice, to the point now where I actually resent him, and now he's comfortably guided West Ham away to safety with ease. Annoyingly, as well, having said that, and now I'm looking at my predictions, I've realised something, but I'll just go with it. You never know. I've gone Everton 0, West Ham United 2.
Ooh, okay. Now, what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to swap you guys over. So, Brad, moving forward, you do the home, Wayne, you do the away, just because that's the order that I've got you down here, so I don't get confused. Now, Lynn said this to me a few times, that I am too negative. Is it possible to be positive about our club this season?
No, it's not. And maybe, Chris, you should get a plus sign for your magnet, so you can be positive and negative together.
Hey.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hey.
I do the bad jokes around here, all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm trying to take your job.
Oh dear. Okay, I can't think of a comeback again. And for fuck's sake. Oh no, I've got it there. That's right. I thought I pressed the wrong button. I know what you're saying, Lynn, but it's hard not to be negative about our club at the moment. Right. Interesting here. Everton have got this is according to Optra, 46% chance of winning this. West Ham have got a 27% chance of winning this. I've got to agree with you to a point, Wayne. I think the fact that it's Everton at home. I mean, look, every game for Everton's going to be the last one in their stage. It's the last time they play West Ham at Goodison. It's the last time they'll do this. The last time they do that. And I just think that when they're at home, it does make a big difference. And I just think that they are on such a run. But as we've just seen, West Ham aren't. They're very stuttering. So I have gone 2-1 to Everton.
Yeah, they've got Decore as well, he is like a Kante. He's two midfielders in one. So physical, box to box, and he scored against us, didn't he? Remember the first goal against? Yeah, straight down the middle. Yeah.
How can I forget that? John has gone. He's gone 2-1 Everton. Craig has gone 2-0 to Everton, and Blue Fox has gone for a draw. He's gone for the first draw of the night, and he has gone 1-1. Right. Next up, it is Ipswich against Nottingham Forest. Ipswich. And where has that gone? That's what I deleted before. He said, I told you, I deleted something, didn't you? Just talk among yourselves for a moment. I'll be.
Well, you might have deleted something, Chris, but it certainly wasn't your points from last week, was it? Prediction.
Hey!
All right, calm down, Malfi. That'll be -10 for Wayne.
Yeah.
So jealous. It's not a good look. I mean, I know you got
I'm
black.
not jealous. I'm petrified he can have a good week and catch me, Chris.
Yes, it's that green that is, on the side of his shirt in his face.
If I become any more green, I'll become a Plymouth Argyle fan, and you know what I think of their sponsors.
Well, exactly. Nottingham Forest, plus 12 goal difference, in third place with 51. Looks like they're going to be heading for Champions League, and all the best to them if they do get there. Sorry, Liverpool. Ipswich, well, look, they're down in 18th. We know that, 17 points. Earlier in the season, at the start of the season, it was 1-0 to Forest. That was back in November. Brad, Ipswich. They lost to Palace. They lost to Man United. They lost to Tottenham. They drew with Villa. They lost to Southampton. Yes, they are fighting, but they're not getting the results that they were last season, if you know what I mean. They've got fight, but then they lose to Southampton.
Yeah. Right now, on paper and looking at our squads objectively, Chris, I think you'd much rather, be down and out and relegated as Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton are. Again, barring a miracle, because until it's got an R next to it, we might as well just pretend there's a miracle going to happen. I think you'd rather be sat in the Ipswich sort of section of things, because, like you said, because they show fight, and against Chelsea, we actually did see some kind of fight. Way too little, way too late. But Ipswich, Chris, they they were a championship club in the Premier League. And what I mean by that is, Chris, is I know everybody go, oh, Southampton left, that's what promotion is, Brad. No, what I mean, you sarky fucks, before you come in and say that, is, I mean, we on paper had a handful of players you would class as Premier League quality, or at least should be able to showcase themselves in the Premier League. You know, we've still got a few that have done it for us before, Ricardo, Justin, and Didi and Vards and that. And the same goes to Southampton a little bit, whereas Ipswich have just been cut adrift on pure ability alone. God loves a trier, but they're just not going to do enough to stay up. But having said that, do you want me to give a prediction now, or we're going to go back to the old way of doing it?
No, you give yours now, yeah.
I do think Ipswich will grab a goal because they always manage to sneak one. But I've gone Ipswich Town 1, Champions League bound Nottingham Forest 3.
Fuck. I haven't given mine yet, have I?
No, I heard that. That means you've got no. Put that bit of paper up now. No Tipex in it. Go for it. Hey, Chris, this could be the only one I get right. And if you back it, you're going to get 3 points. I mean, nothing. See, psychological. The one result Brad goes and gets right, and you're there going, yeah, because I got it right too. See? Stick with it, Chris. Go on.
God. That was me writing it down too soon. Wayne, Nottingham Forest, look, yeah, what a great season they're having. I mean, you know, I think they've surprised us all. I mean, they're not going to win it, as they're not going to do a Leicester, but I've got to say, hats off to them. And I have to say, hats off to Nuno as well, because I didn't rate him as a manager, but my God, he's doing well with, again, a very average team when you compare it to the teams around them. People have said, well, you know, City aren't having a good season and Chelsea are struggling a little bit. It doesn't matter. The table doesn't lie. Forest beat Manchester City last week 1-0. They drew with Arsenal 0-0. They lost a 7-goal thriller to Newcastle 4-3. They lost to Fulham. And, of course, they had that huge win over Brighton, 7-0.
Yeah, they're just a brilliant side, Chris. And I know you wasn't a fan of the manager, but I really like Wolves, actually. They're the one I look forward to watching on Match of the Day. Dynamic, fast on the break, really athletic players. And he's assembled. And Silver, the Fulham manager, has got a lot of those players, ex-Wolves players in his squad. Fulham are doing very well, and Forest are doing very well. I mean, the two centre halves, Milenkovic and Murillo, they are brilliant players. Milenkovic comes up, he's in my fantasy football team because he scores goals from corners and he's attacking. The two wingers, Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, my goodness me, everything that we used to be in dynamic in attack, that's what Forest are. And they've got Gibbs White in the middle and Wood up front. Is an old-fashioned centre-forward like Haaland is for Man City, and he just works in the system. And I really like them. It was a great result against Man City. And one note I've got on the match when they played Man City was they fight tooth and nail. Every single one of them guys are expected to fight for that shirt. Otherwise, somebody will come in the next week and take the place.
And I've got to say, coming back to you on that, it's always nice to have a bit of Wood up front, isn't it? Excuse me. I'm on about Chris Wood. I don't know what you guys are laughing at, because I'd have Chris Wood back in a shot. I think you two are just being extremely rude. Help me out here, Wayne. What are you going for?
I'm going for Forest 2, Ipswich 0.
He has to do it backwards, doesn't he?
He did, just to confuse me. I nearly wrote that down as 2-0 then.
I know, right? God, Bennett. He mutes himself and says scores backwards. What you can do? Well, you can't get the staff, can you?
Ipswich, their chances of winning at home is not actually the worst. 27.5% chance. Forest have got a 46.4. The draw is 26.1. I have to go with Forest. I just don't want to agree with you, Brad.
Yeah, no, I'll put you down as Ipswich 1, Forest 3. You've written it down.
But that's what I thought. And
well, there you go then, Chris. So Ipswich 1, Forest 3, yeah? Yeah. You'll be gutted if you change it. It's 3-1.
That's the only thing that's stopping me. But if I change it now and it ends up 3-1 to Forest, you will absolutely come in here and you will rip me one.
Oh, I will, mate. Don't you worry about that. I don't care if I get no points for the rest of it. If I get 3 points and it's for that game and you've gone 4-1 or something like that, I'm like, nah, you should listen to me. You got more points.
that is really what's stopping me. So I'm gonna have to go Ipswich 1, Forest 3. You do not know how much that really hurts me and sticks in my throat.
Chris, from now on, just before we start, you lock in your prediction and say I've locked in a prediction for this game, and then I'll speak and I'll give you mine.
No. Right. John, that was my other choice, John. I was what I would have changed it to. Ipswich 1, Forest 2. But you can bet it'll be 2-1 in about the 95th minute if I went for that. Forest would get a third. Chris would. Craig's gone 0-3 to Forest. Prashant's agreed with us. Bradley's gone 3-1, as has indeed Blue Fox Forever. Rico is in. Hiya, Rico. How you doing? He's gone for an Everton. Oh, I agreed with you, Rico. I went 2-1 to Everton as well. I'm not going to say anything, Rico, but the guy below me thinks West Ham are going to beat you 2-0. And Rico has gone 3-0 to Forest. Okay, so we are now up against Man City hosting Brighton. I mean, I just don't know what to make of Man City this season. You think then they maybe get a couple of wins and things are going to go their way, then they throw it away. What everybody is still playing Pep ball for when it's not even working for Pep, I do not know. But you've got Man City who are sat in 5th with 47 points, plus 15. Brighton 2 places behind them, but only 1 point behind them with 46. Earlier in the season, 2-1 to Brighton. Brad, their last results, they lost to Forest, as we know, last week. They beat Tottenham 1-0, only by the 1 goal. I don't know. Man City 0, Liverpool 2, but they beat Newcastle 4-0, but they got stuffed 5-1 by Arsenal. Can you make anything out of this Manchester City team this season, I mean?
No, you can't, because they could literally even play Southampton and you wouldn't know if to back a draw, a Man City win, or a Southampton win. You know, you just couldn't make it up. Like this gone this season, completely thrown out the rule book is Man City home, Man City win. That's what that's what you've been doing for about 5 years or more, isn't it, Chris? With how dominant they've been. There's a difference between falling apart and somebody praying that they're going to do a Fergie, and what I mean by that is they'll sell and rebuy next season, storm the league, and that's when Pep Guardiola will go, see you later, Man City. You know, that's when he'll move on, because this is just horrendous for Man City. And I honestly, Chris, it's something you like to see, because okay, we're probably going to get in 10 years' time down there with Newcastle with the big multi-billionaire owners buying them their way to the trophy. But right now they're doing it very respectfully. They're doing it quite well. You know, they're not going chaotic with players. You know, they've got a good manager in charge. But to see Man City suffering, knowing that there's a potential points deduction coming their way, it just makes me feel a little bit better. And like I said, Chris, I couldn't decide. You're going to be happy. You're going to be very, very happy.
Oh, we've not.
No, don't spoil it. Get ready with your bingo cards, right? See if it's on the middle of your thing, because I've gone Manchester City 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 2.
Desmond! It's the first Desmond.
There you go. We've got half the bingo card.
Yeah. And just for anybody that's joined late, and there are a few of you, I've just put last week's points in the on the screen there for you. What? Wayne's doing his impersonation of one of those head things there in the car, isn't he? Wayne, Brighton beat Fulham last week 2-1. They beat Bournemouth the week before 2-1. They beat Southampton 4-0. They beat Chelsea 3-0. But they lost to Forest 7-0.
You don't half like remind us of that, don't you?
What? Forest beating Brighton 7-0?
Yeah. I think that could have happened first game of the season and you'd still slide in.
Look, it'll drop off next week. Brighton, since that Forest game, Wayne, they have come back. You know, they've not lost. They had a good start. They kind of went off a little bit. Now they're coming back. They're after Europe, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They just had those two results. They lost. Yeah, so they lost against Forest, didn't they? And they lost against Everton just. But apart from that, they beat Man United, beat Ipswich, won in the cup, drew against Arsenal. They beat Bournemouth. Chelsea 3-0. Then they beat Chelsea in the cup. Yeah, they had the sort of Forest 7-0. But they're just a brilliant team. They're just a brilliant team. They've got strength throughout. The manager's brilliant tactically. Of all those groups of teams that were all around the same, they are, apart from Liverpool, they're the most informed team in the top 10 of the Premier League. Won the last 4. So, yeah, definitely Brighton. One of my customers who's a Brighton fan said they were definitely going for Europe this year. And although they had a wobble, I cleaned his windows last week and he said, we're on it. We're going to get into Europe. We're going to get in the Champions League. So the Brighton fans definitely believe they're going to get in the Champions League this year. And when you look at Chelsea and Man City, without De Bruyne and everything, I think Brighton will beat Man City and I think they'll beat them 3-1.
Oh, right.
Wait, you went. So I tuned you out, Wayne, because you started waffling. Would you go 3-1 Brighton?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Man City are shit. When we played Man City, we could have got a draw or a win out of both those games.
Yeah, that is true. To be fair, they have been. I mean, it's a good.
Well, Man City have got a 55% chance of winning this at home. Brighton, a 23.5% chance of winning away, and a 22% chance of. I'm rounding it up and down for those that say these don't add up. Of a draw. I'm actually going to surprise you guys here. And I'm not agreeing with Brad. I'm not that stupid. I don't do it twice.
Well, let's go for 10-0.
I'm actually going to go 2-1 to Manchester City. Manchester City 2, Brighton 1. I just think Manchester City win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. I think they're due a win this week. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Manchester City. Prashant's gone Manchester City 2, Brighton 3. Rico has gone 2-1 to Manchester City. Like the cut of that man's jib. John has gone 2-1 Manchester City as well. Blue Fox has gone 1-1. Manchester City 1, Brighton 1, says Craig. And then the other comments are just me winding Brad up. So, Southampton, we not so long ago said there's no way they're not going to beat Derby's 11 points. Whew. Who knows? Who knows? Earlier in the season, Wolves won this 2-0. Wolves in 17th on 23. Southampton in 20th, of course, on 9. Brad, they lost 3-1 to Liverpool. Somehow they managed to open the scoring. Chelsea put 4 past them. Brighton put 4 past them. Bournemouth beat them 3-1. But they did beat Ipswich 2-1. Despite the fact that I don't think we're going to see it, do we want a Southampton win here?
I mean, yeah, obviously, we'd love a Southampton win. Even a draw, it wouldn't be as damning as what's going to actually happen, Chris, because I'd be inclined to say that if Southampton were to get 11 points and equal the record, I would say that this is more embarrassing because at least Derby County got 11 points with a load of has-beens like Robbie Savage and Robert Earnshaw, who were like 33, 34.
I mean, a bit like Leicester this season, do you mean?
Yeah, but at least we've got past that mark. We're safe from that much embarrassment. You know, Southampton have a young, up-and-coming squad. They should have been the surprise package out of the three of us. They should have been, you know, maybe battling it with Everton and West Ham, trying to really stabilise themselves for a top-half finish. As it is, they're embarrassing. And you mentioned the score 4-0 before, Chris. And I'm not going to do a Wayne on you and get your hopes up when I say this. I'm going to go Southampton 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 4.
Ooh, right. That's not only beating, that is not only say kicking us while we're down, it's stamping on our head as well. Wolves, Wayne, look, they could only hold, they held Everton to a 1-1. I suppose that was like Everton was probably expected to win that. They lost to Fulham, but they beat Bournemouth. They only lost 2-1 to Liverpool, and they beat Villa 2-0. They are showing something that we are unable to do, and that is fight.
Yeah, same as Ipswich. I mean, Ipswich against Palace, they were in the game and they got loads of chances, Ipswich. Wolves are in every game. Us and Southampton are not in every game, apart from Chelsea on the weekend. So, yeah, Wolves, I mean, even with Cunha suspended, you're thinking, thank God, there's a miracle. We've got a miracle. And then they managed to get a 1-1 against one of the informed teams, apart from Liverpool in the Premier. So, yeah. Very good results against a quality Everton side. I was hoping Brad would be completely deluded and say that Southampton would win them 2-0. But having said that, I can't actually say that myself. And I'd say it's going to be Wolves 2, Southampton 1.
He's gone backward again, Brad, hasn't he? He's gone backward again.
Southampton 1.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Southampton haven't got the worst percentage winning either at home or away. There's no guessing as who's got that statistic. No, not even you, Brad, but Leicester have. Yes. 29% chance of winning at home. Wolves have got a 44.5%, 26.5% chance of the draw.
So this is pressure, Brad. This is a pressure now.
No. I need to have a moment here with Chris. I'm just going to give you a chance, Brad, to do a Steve Lynex here and prove us all wrong. Go back to the Watford result when they beat Liverpool, and he was only one to back him to do it. I was the only person when Southampton played Ipswich that backed Southampton to win, and you laughed at me. Like we laughed at Steve, and look what happened. All I'm saying here is, Chris, you're sitting so far in cloud nine, you could afford to go for a cheeky 2-0 Southampton win and be laughing all the way to the bank when Southampton do us a favour. I'm just saying, Chris. Or you can have a brain cell. It's up to you. Which one do you want to do?
Yeah, go Billy Big Balls, Chris.
Go on. Deal, Chris.
My balls are smaller than tops, I'll have you know. I want Southampton to win because I don't think Southampton will catch us. I don't think we could get many more points, but I think we are sort of, 8 points clear of them. That's a lot for them to get. But it would be nice if they could do us a favour and beat Wolves. But I am going to go different to you two. I'm going to go. I can see you, Brad. I'm going to go. Do I do a Brad? I'm going to go Southampton 1.
Dream's over already. Forget it.
Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Z1, is that a French one?
I was telling for you that I was going 2. I am going to go Southampton 1, Wolves 1.
I can't wait till Wolves smash Southampton.
And to be honest with you, Brad, you'll still be behind me.
Yeah, sad but true.
But yeah, I just look, if Southampton are going to get anything, this is the one that they might get something from. Let's have a look what people are saying in the chat. Wolves 2-0, says Rico. Only one result that matters. Well, we'll come into that soon. Southampton 1, Wolves 3. Wolves 3-0, says Craig. John says Southampton 1, Wolves 2. Has Kuna been banned yet? I think he already has, to be honest with you.
This is the second of his 3-game suspension.
Yeah. Blue Fox agrees with me. I'm not the only one that's mad. 1-1, he's gone. I like the cut of that man's jib. He'll go far. He'll go far in the world. And Dan, the Burnley fan, he's in. He must be after some alimony. He's gone. Pooh versus Pooh. I did message you, Dan. Message me back. I want to see if you want to come on and do something with us. Not that before anybody says anything.
Have you seen how many goals Burnley have let in all season in the Championship?
How many?
10 goals all season.
Thing is, though, you've got to remember, Wayne, that they will come up, but they've got Scott Parker. They're not going to stay up. I mean, you know, as Bournemouth call him the bin man. Dan, love you to bits, mate, but he'll get you up because he's good at that. But he just can't keep. He's like an older person's Daniel Farke, isn't he? Really, you know. Talking of Bournemouth, they are hosting Brentford. It's the Battle of the Bees. You see what I did there? Anyway, Bournemouth are in 9th and going for Europe, 44 points. Brentford are in 12th on 38. Bournemouth, look, you got to say well done to them. I was talking to Paddy earlier, and you know, from where they were to how they are here, it's just a fairy story. Brentford, a bit like Brighton, they started off well. They've dropped off a little bit, haven't quite got back up there. But look, Bournemouth let you down, Brad. It was Tottenham 2, Bournemouth 2. They lost 2-1 to Brighton. They lost to Wolves 1-0. They did beat Southampton in the South Coast Derby 3-1, but they lost to Liverpool 2-0. How do you see this going? Can Bournemouth get back to winning ways?
Look, this is both two very good sides that are probably punching above their weight. Bournemouth, a lot more than Brentford. Brentford have been in and around that top 10 for a few seasons now, which is even more credit to Brentford for sustaining it. But Bournemouth are having a stellar season. You know, that they saw right to sack the clown that was Gary O'Neill. Sorry, Chris, I know he's your best mate. But
you are getting me confused with somebody else, sir.
Oh yes, I forgot. That was Paddy Fists a Cow. Yeah, Bournemouth, Brentford. I think it's going to be an interesting game, Chris. Both teams will want to, you know, keep adding points onto the board and keep that late surge for, you know, European football, because they're up there. You know, while Man City are free falling and, you know, Villa keeps stuttering every now and then. You know, it's very, very close between them sides. So I've gone for my second draw, Chris.
Ooh.
And I've gone for 2 goals.
1-1.
Bournemouth 1, Brentford 1. I tried to build that up to make you think I've gone for another Desmond, but as soon as you give away the goals, that's it. It's done.
Yeah. Well, you've gone 1-1. That's your second draw of the day. Wayne, Brentford. Let's have a look what they've been up to. They lost to Villa 1-0 last week. They drew 1-1 with Everton. They put 4 past a very, very lacklustre Leicester. But they did beat West Ham, but they lost to Tottenham beating Tottenham's not for everybody, is it, Brentford? Which way do you see this one going?
I think Bournemouth will shade it. There's not much in them points-wise, but I think Bournemouth are far more dynamic. I think Brentford, though, they have got Mbeumo, Wisseroos together, Norgard and Damsgaard. Really intelligent players. And Lewis Potter is brilliant. Sade, great midfielder, sometimes plays on the wing just inside. I think Brentford are great, but they are a mid-table side. But I think Bournemouth's far more exciting side and can beat anybody in the day. So I'd say Bournemouth 2, Brentford 1.
So you confused me then because you went the right way round.
I was confused. The right way around.
Now, oh God, this is to me, this is probably the hardest one of the weekend, because Brentford started off, they couldn't lose away, could they? They were just winning and winning and winning. And they couldn't win at home until Southampton visited them, and then they went on a winning run away from home. And if you look at those, at home, they lost to Villa. They could only draw with Everton, and they lost to Spurs. But away, beat West Ham, beat us. But what Opta are saying is that Bournemouth have got a 52.6% chance of winning this. Brentford only 24.9%. In fact, that is lower than Leicester's chance of winning.
Wow.
No, it's not. Yes, it is.
That's a despicable insult, really.
It is, isn't it?
That
Yeah.
shows you how bad Manchester United have been this season, doesn't it?
Yeah. 22.5% chance of the draw. Brentford are off the boil. I am going to go Bournemouth 2. Are you ready, Brad?
No, I'm not letting you get me hopes up, but go on.
Bournemouth 2, Brentford 0.
Yeah, see, I'm moisty games now, Chris. I don't get excited.
Yeah. Dan has gone for, you're brilliant, mate. I'll message you back after the show. He's gone 2-1 to Bournemouth, as has Prashant. Craig's agreed with me. Good man. Blue's gone for a Desmond. And John has gone 2-1 to Bournemouth. Now we're on to Sunday's games. And the battle of whatever it is. This is the game that should be on at 7:00 at night. Arsenal playing Chelsea. Arsenal sat in second on 55 points, which is probably pretty much where they'll end the season up. I mean, I was having a chat the other day with an Arsenal fan, and I said, you're doing a Tottenham. Arsenal are actually being Spursy, because the season when Manchester City aren't in it, they should be winning, and they're not. They're letting Liverpool come through. And like the season when Chelsea weren't in it and Tottenham should have won it, they didn't. They let Leicester go through. That is how embarrassing Arsenal are this season. And I don't think how they can claim anything other than this. And don't get me wrong, I'd swap places with them 100% at the time. But Arsenal have totally and utterly blown this. They really, really have. And I can't see them ever winning the title. They've got some great players, but the manager, he's a good manager, but he's just not good enough to win it. That said, they could only, look, Brad, they got a draw with Man United. Man United seem to turn up against the big teams. They got a draw 0-0 with Forest. They lost to West Ham 1-0. They beat us 2-0. But then again, who doesn't? But they put 5 past Manchester City 5-1. Obviously, if they get a result here, it's not going to make any difference in the title race. But how do you see it? Do you see this being easy, Arsenal?
No, not really. A bit like Man City in a way. The table sort of papers over the cracks for them, because Arsenal have had a poor season. Mismanagement. We thought we had a bad January transfer window. Our problem is no one wants the buggers that are down at the bottom of the table. Arsenal's problem is they didn't go out and buy any bugger when they desperately needed a striker. I think that shows his stupidity. I mean, his naivety as a manager. And I don't know if you saw it, Chris. His actions after the 1-1 draw with Manchester United.
Yeah.
The guy was basically pressing just the usual journalism questions that they all ask every day. You've got to get used to it. And he's like, he's not trying to leave. He's trying to leave. And it's like, the title race. And he goes, no. And just walks off. Like, you are what, a 50-year-old bloke? Grow the fuck up.
The pressure is getting to him, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like people have seen. It's like these managers have seen how Pep and Klopp did interviews and threw the weight around like they were God's gift to football. And this clown thinks he can do it now. No, mate, you were a B-Tech midfielder that rained off the riches of his midfield counterparts at Arsenal. And you're a half decent manager that's clearly proven that when there's no competition around, you still can't touch Liverpool or Man City's gloves in first. So I think it's been another boring game. I think they're showing the cracks, Chris. And try saying that when you've had 10 points.
I say when I've had 10 pints, mate, I've got no chance of finding a crack, let alone saying it.
And that explains the ex-wife.
Yeah, indeed.
But no, I've actually gone back to back, Chris. I've gone Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Brad. Right. Wayne, Chelsea beat us yesterday. He very easily got confused by an opposition manager changing his formation. He didn't like that, did he?
He did. I think Brad's a bit harsh on Arteta. I think Arteta's just been listening and his bottom lip's been quivering big time with all that. But it is true, isn't it? Yeah, in Chelsea, I'm not a fan of Maresca. I think, Bertie Bassett could have managed us at the Championship with our squad. And that guy that you did the pre-match with the Chelsea fan, Chris, he was spot on, wasn't he? Yep. What he said was going to happen in that match and what the fans think about Maresca, he was actually spot on. They were bang average.
Do you not think, Wayne, that what he was saying was exactly what we were saying this time last season?
Exactly. And like Brad said, was it in one of the shows, the quality of the Premier this season of teams, it's really poor. You look at all the teams like your Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City. If they get in Europe, they're not going to get through to the last 16, are they?
Well, certainly not if he goes to penalties.
Exactly. It's like, I do think Maresca overcoaches people, like Albrighton said. It was like ridiculous to an nth degree. And, you look at Palmer, who all through his age groups has been world class. And he's just hitting a massive drought. I took him out of my fancy team because he's just having a real crap end of the season. And I think Maresca, simple tactical change. Could Maresca deal with that? He couldn't deal with Russell Martin's tactical things when we're in the Championship, and he couldn't do it in this game. And apart from a wonder strike, what other genuine chances to score did Chelsea have, really?
No.
So I'd say Arsenal, as poor as they are, will beat Chelsea 3-0.
Ooh. All right. Well,
Chelsea on the bingo card as well, Chris. Wayne mentions his FPL team. He's only mentioned this 3 times this stream.
I know.
Honestly, you can't believe that people would keep mentioning the same thing over and over again, would you?
No.
Yes, but I mention it, and I'm shit at fancy Premier League, Chris.
Yeah, I mentioned this, but I'm shit at at the fantasy stuff as well.
I'm going to start being like Arteta. Talk to me when you've won one, eh? Yeah, talk to me when you've won 2 trophies. Respect. Yeah. Two times. Here, none. There's your Jose Mourinho for you.
Oh dear. Chelsea beat us 1-0. Last week, and it wasn't a classic Chelsea performance. They beat Southampton before that 4-0, but it was hard going. It was only after they scored the first goal that it obviously changed the match. That's saying a bit of a Michael Owen thing, but they struggled to get that first goal. Villa beat them 2-1. Brighton beat them 1-0. They did manage to beat West Ham 2-1. Now, Arsenal have got a 52.2% chance according to Opta, of winning this at home. Chelsea, 23.6% chance of winning away. The draw is actually higher than Chelsea winning at 24.2. I very close, and I'm going to say this, I very nearly did go 2-2, but I didn't because I don't think Chelsea are that good. So I've gone Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1.
What it really means is he went 2-2, then realised I'd gone for a draw, and he'd rather see me get a point out of spite than agree with me. Yeah,
No, look,
now, he was writing that in. He was going 2. Oh shit! Brad said 1-1. I'll change that to a 1 now.
Prashant's gone 2-0 Arsenal. Rico's gone 2-1 Chelsea. Craig has gone for the Desmond. Blue Fox has gone 3-2 Arsenal. John has gone 1-1, so he's agreed with you. Are you sure, John? You can change it, or have you already put it in? Rico, Chris, you have Fulham versus Arsenal.
Yeah, your artwork's about as good as my maths, mate.
Yeah, quite possibly. Arsenal playing 2 games in one day. Yes, I'd actually
do that.
Yeah, I'd actually written Brighton down twice on my pad, so I'm not surprised. When you try to do this 10 minutes before the game goes, that's not surprising. It's because the last time I did a graph at this size, Arsenal was in that position. I've written Fulham Arsenal down as well. Look at that. I've written Fulham Arsenal down. All right, look, I was writing this out. No, just stop picking on me.
Mirrors, Chris.
I just hate Spurs that much. I don't want to write them down.
You said at the start of the show we were the 3 unwise men. Well, you're doing 3 unwise men in one go.
Yeah.
Can't argue.
He's getting these dodgy 12 pointers here, isn't it, Wayne? He's adding on games that I can't even communicate for.
I just hate Tottenham. I don't want to even let them play. Let's face it, if Arsenal turned up for Spurs, then they might get 3 points. They won't get it as Spurs, will they? Or will they? Fulham in 10th on 42 points. Spurs way down, as Elvis Presley once sang, in 13th on 34 points. Earlier in the season, it was Spurs 1, Fulham 1 at the Toilet Bowl. Fulham's recent results, Brad: Brighton 2, Fulham 1, Wolves 1, Fulham 2, Fulham 0, Palace 2, Fulham 2, Forest 1, Newcastle 1, Fulham 2. It literally is win-win, lost, win-lost. They're about to do a draw, aren't they?
You think that, but this is a strange fixture, because this season, this is a sort of game that if Spurs are in top 6 and battling for Europe, you probably expect Fulham to nick a result, like they had done against like the teams like Newcastle and that, etc. And then they go and choke it against a team down below. However, they are actually playing a team down below, so it's just that one-off game where crikey, mate, gets it right and Spurs win. I said there was a pattern coming with my predictions, and maybe when you look back on them, you'll notice something very odd about my predictions. Because I feel like this is a game that typical Fulham in form should turn up, should get the win, and Spurs will go and nick it. So I've gone Fulham 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Ooh. Well, Spurs drew with Bournemouth last week, as we remember. They lost to Man City 1-0. They beat Ipswich 4-1. They beat Man United 1-0. They beat Brentford 2-0. Have they turned the corner, Wayne?
I don't think so. You look where they are in the league. I mean, Fulham are way, 8 points clear of Spurs. Who'd have thought that? And that's the same with a few clubs, really. Spurs, no. I can't see Postecoglou lasting much longer, to be honest. I think they'll get impatient. But Spurs are just another also-ran team. and other teams are better than them. You know, that's the thing about you Bournemouths, your Fulhams now. You look at that and you think, well, like you said about Man United had the day, and Man United below Spurs in the table, and I think teams like Brighton, Villa, Bournemouth, Fulham, you know, they will probably carry on being above Spurs, to be honest. So I'd say Fulham 2, Spurs 1.
Oh, right. So you've gone either end. Do I go for a draw now and make it interesting? Well, Fulham's chance of winning at home is 46.6%. Tottenham's chance of winning away is 29.4%, and a draw is 24%. All right, I'm going to go for a draw because I've only gone for one draw so far. And, you know, it's Tottenham. You just don't know what they're going to do you? So I am going to be going here. And yes, Brad, you are about to hear this right. Fulham 2, Tottenham 2.
You watch that be the only fucking 2-2 and all.
I got a 2-2 last week. Did you? No.
No.
Fulham 1, Spurs. Sorry, Fulham 2, Spurs 1. Rico has gone 1-1. John says 2-1 to Fulham. Prashant's agreed with me, 2-2. Knows what he's talking about, that man. Craig's gone Fulham 2-1. And Rico asks, how is Ange still at Spurs? I don't know. Yeah, look, sorry, I'm laughing because if that one ends up 2-2, Brad's not going to hear the end of this.
I won't be on, Chris. If tell you what, especially if Brighton Man City ends 2-1, I'll be fuming. I'll be claiming compensation.
Oh God! Right, last game, and it happens to be. I don't know if I can do this anymore. Leicester Man United. Manchester United are on 14th with 34 points. Leicester aren't.
I love that.
Earlier on in the honestly, I don't know how often you want to say they beat us 3-0 at the start of the season. They've obviously beaten us twice more in both cups. I don't know if any side has lost to the same team in the same league, top league, 4 times in one season. If not, we're going to get a record, I believe. Or am I? Apparently, though, I didn't realise this, but if Leicester get relegated this season, we've been relegated from the Premier League more times than any other team.
Get in, Ruud van Nistelrooy's record-breaking army.
You'll never sing that. You'll never sing that.
Most times relegated from the Premier League.
You'll never sing that.
How do you put all these trophies in the cabinet? All these shit records we're breaking.
Yes, they should do, shouldn't they? So I don't know if that is true. I haven't seen it, but I have been told on a couple of occasions that. So yeah, it could be embarrassing. Look, Chelsea beat us 1-0. Different formation, different outcome. I mean, 1-0. I mean, Chelsea were on their top form, but they did find it difficult. And he's come out and said he'll be sticking to pretty much the same idea against Chelsea, against Man United. West Ham, they beat us 2-0 in what I have said. And do check out what I said on the BBC website on Tuesday. I think it's still at the top on the BBC Leicester City page. But it was the worst game. And I'm 60-odd, and I can certainly say I don't remember seeing much of a worse game than that. Unless you go back a week when we lost 4-0 to Brentford, which was equally as bad. That's how often they're coming up. Of course, we lost to Arsenal. Or you could go back a week further when we lost 4-0 to Everton. That could be up there as well. Brad, are we going to lose to Manchester United?
In a nutshell, yeah. Yeah, we are, because here's exactly what's going to happen, right? Here's exactly what's going to happen. We got a refreshing, different style of play, different formation. Tried to pretend it was a different style of how we go about business, but it really wasn't. But we just lined up a little bit differently. We moved some men around like it's a game of Sabutio. Right, and we only lost 1-0, Chris. We only lost 1-0. It wasn't 3-0, wasn't 4-0, wasn't 2-0. It was a nice, steady 1-0 defeat. 1-0 defeat champions, you'll never sing that. And unfortunately, Chris, it's going to happen again. Exactly like, stick the watch along on for Chelsea, Chris, but just every so often change the names of the players, because we're going to pick the same lineup. We'll pick the same team, because God forbid we play a right back at right back and we play 3 centre backs at centre back. We're going to stick a left back at centre back and a left back at right back. Oh, God, it hurts. It hurts my brain. And we're going to lose by the exact same scoreline, Chris. It's going to be Leicester City 0, Manchester United for the 4th time this season getting a win over Leicester 1.
No Ricardo.
Not unless Christensen's injured. He's going to put him on the left. Don't be silly, Chris.
Okay. And what was the score you went for?
1-0 to 1-0 to Manchester United.
Oh, you see, look at that. He doesn't stick by his team, does he, Wayne? When the going gets tough, the tough get going, and Brad runs for the hills.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, may I just say, sorry to interrupt, Wayne. I did know there was one team that will play the same opposition 4 times this season. And unfortunately, they've even managed to win in that, and it would be Tottenham Hotspur Liverpool. They lost 6-3 to them early in the season. They lost to them in the Carabao Cup second leg 4-1, but they won the first leg and played them again in April. So there is another team out there that are playing a team 4 times in one season, but unfortunately they already have managed a win. I was gutted. Sorry, Wayne. Over to you.
Man United, Wayne. That's all right, none of them. Drew with Arsenal, but they do seem to like to play the big teams. They managed to get past Ipswich, fighting performance from Ipswich. They won 3-2. They got a 2-2 with Everton. They lost to Tottenham 1-0, and they lost to Palace 2-0. Can Leicester really get anything from this, or are we going to end, March 9 points off safety?
I think we will, Chris. I mean, Fernandes is starting to, Ratman is starting to find his form. They're just a very average side, Man United, but they have got double our points though, Chris. We've got 17 points, and 2 times 17 equals 34, and that's what Man United have got. So they've got double our points. The 1-2 drawn 2, lost 2 in the last 6. So yeah, get your calculator out, logarithms and signs and codes.
I've written boobies. Yes.
Yeah, it's depressing, Chris. It's depressing. So I think Man United. I'm going for a 1-1. Actually, I think we will score.
Sorry.
This is it. This is the start of our building for the championship season. When we get 1 goal on Saturday.
Too late, because that'll be a training session because we're playing Sunday.
And there'll be street parties. There'll be street parties all around Leicester because we scored a goal.
True. Look, I got to say, I agree with one of you.
It's me, isn't it, Chris?
And I agree with the score of one of you, exactly the same.
Oh, God, he's gone for 1-1. Oh, God.
I have gone 1-1.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if we are going to get anything, because I think we've got like Manchester City, Liverpool, and you know what it's like. If any team has been on a bad run, play Leicester, you're going to get 3 points. Liverpool, Newcastle, I'm not sure. I mean, those are going to be 3 games and we're going to get absolutely zilch from. And I think this is our last chance to get a point. I didn't expect to get anything against Chelsea. I can't remember what I predicted us to do. I went 3-1 to Chelsea. But if Fernandez isn't exactly on form, if Harry Maguire trips over his own feet again, I mean, we could just literally, and if they get a penalty, look, you've just got Super Mads to come to the rescue, haven't you? Unless he trips over and touches it twice. And they've got Onana.
Onana is a nightmare, isn't it?
He is, but we just didn't test him, did we?
No.
Nightmare Onana. Yes, try saying that when you're drunk. So yeah, I agree with
so
you.
Who's going to score our goal then?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Danny Ward. Bring him on. Worst things will happen. He'll bring him on, put him up front, and he'll get a goal.
I'm telling you now, it'll be karma for the FA Cup if we score. It'll be Harry Maguire, 95th minute, heading it into his own net. And then I think if he does that, Chris, I want to see Vardy get right in his face, giving it all out and giving it a big one.
Yeah. Now, I think El Canoes will get our goal.
Yeah, you watch. He won't play him now.
Well, true. Wayne, who do you think will get our goal?
I think Vardy will get our goal.
Yeah, but do you think we'll pass the ball to him?
If he plays not, yes. Or if he pushes the fullbacks 10 yards further up the pitch to really play as wing backs, yes. Or if he plays Koulibaly, who I think would
my other outside, Koulibaly at right back. Do you know what my other? I'm going to say this now, and yes, and I will catch up with the chat in a second, but I'm going to say my other outside bet for getting our goal is Ricardo.
Yes, good call.
I thought it was.
Being as we're all having a laugh and a giggle and predicting Leicester to score a goal, I'm going to go for the most outrageous one of the lot. It's the present day Adi Akinbaye of the club. I'm going to go Patson Daka.
He's just being silly, isn't he, Wayne?
And Onana lets it through his legs.
Or we could have a John Smith Spitter moment where somebody crashes onto the pitch.
Oh, yeah. John's like, what's he called? Peter Kay.
Yeah.
Have it. Do you remember that? Yeah, but when Ricardo came on, he did actually look good. He kind of filled into that role that he played last season. And he had a shot, which was more than fucking Daka had for 90 minutes, so or whatever he was on. But here we go. Let's have a look what everybody is saying here. Where do we go? Where do we start? 2-1 to United, says Rico. John's gone 2-1 to United as well. Prashant's gone 2-1 to Leicester. Get in there, Prashant. Blue Fox has gone 2-1 to Leicester. Surely can't beat us the fourth time. Rude's revenge. I think that Canadian cold's been getting to you. Fox is 1-0, says Craig. And Michael says we will win a game once we are relegated. Well, all I will say is, guys, check us out tomorrow, 7 o'clock. It could be 6 o'clock. I'm not decided yet. Depends when the guest is. We've got a guest coming on, Rich from, it was Rich Sports. He's changed his name now. I'm not sure what it is, but he will be joining us. In fact, I will tell you in a minute. He is coming to us from Red Devil United TV, and he will be discussing with me and Craig the match tomorrow on Sunday. That'll be tomorrow. Probably be 7 o'clock, but it might be 6. Tell you what. Click that notification bell, and then whatever time we start, you'll be notified. That's why it's called the notification bell. Makes sense, doesn't it? Like the video as well, and please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Brad, Wayne, thank you very much, young men. I will see you on Sunday when we will be celebrating at least a point and a Ricardo goal. Post-match. It might be Monday morning, of course, because, there might be 30 minutes of stoppage time to add on. So, you got nothing planned Sunday night, gentlemen?
Absolutely nothing, thankfully, for you, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to thank you, but there we go. Anyway, guys, thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best, and thanks to everybody that's been watching as well. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.